Apologies to Jerry O'Connell, I would either have to be really, really tiny or Mike Wazowski, someone in this lineup, and, well, you drew the short straw. If Scream 1 is preoccupied with reminding you it's a horror movie, Scream 2, is reminding you it's a sequel to a horror movie. It includes a fair amount of meta-commentary, delivered primarily by the character Randy, on how they are in a sequel of the events of the first movie, like literally commented on exactly that way. And it does start a trend where all of the movies tend to comment on where their film lands in the franchise. Not in the sense that they know they're a film, but in describing how kind of tropey and cliche the situation is in the terms of horror movie tropes. A lot of people put Scream 3 as their least favorite in the franchise. I, for one, like its goofy, campy nature and its focus on being in Hollywood. I would personally rank Scream 2, a little bit below Scream 3, primarily because of the way that the sequel meta-commentary in the film sets up what it doesn't pay off. Randy explains that in sequels to horror films, the body count is higher and the, death scenes are a lot more gruesome, a lot more spectacle. And they do deliver on the first point. The body count is higher. On the second point is where I take umbrage. If I had to rank the iconic death scenes from all of these films, I think the majority of Scream 2 would be right near the bottom. So in that way, I kind of feel a little let down by the setup that this is going to have more spectacular, death scenes, and feeling like, no, actually the first movies were more iconic. They even kill off one of the characters that was in the first movie that survived. Without giving too much away, I do want to say that too was anticlimactic. For the most part, there's a reason behind why people do get targeted by Ghostface in most of the movies. Other than this character being there in the first one, it just felt like it didn't serve much of a purpose. My other issue with this film is in its use of the song Red Right Hand by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, which becomes the series or franchise kind of theme song. It's a good song. I don't dislike it. I think it actually works really well in the first movie, where it's about a, man who does set off all the alarm bells, right? You just get bad vibes from him. Even though he's ostensibly just doing nice things, it feels like it's all part of some convoluted evil plot that you are just a piece of, and you're not likely to understand what his goal is in the end. That fits the first movie so well, where Ghostface is a character who is very, very bad vibes most of the movie. Most of the characters suspect him the whole time, and it turns out they were right, and it was part of a big convoluted plot that most of the people who die in it don't really understand the full extent of. But starting in Scream 2, that's when they start really just using it as the theme song. And in my opinion, I think it would have been better if they picked other kind of similar vibed songs that might have more connection to what's going on in that particular film. I know that was a lot of complaining. I do actually like this movie. It's a pretty solid sequel. I really, really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite elements of the entire franchise is the introduction of the in-universe Stab series, which is a horror film series that is the kind of, true crime depiction of what happened in the first Scream to Sidney and the other characters. Because this is a franchise about horror films, about the tropes, about the fans, about the consumption of these films. The idea that they would create an in-universe horror franchise, based on the true details of the original film is just brilliant because it allows even more commentary to be layered on top. And the cast is delivering another stellar performance. Neve Campbell as Sidney just continues to knock it out of the park for me, and in this one I feel really bad for her because she's built up all this hesitation about fully trusting her boyfriend, played by Jerry O'Connell, right behind me, and it makes sense, right? Like, she should have trust issues with him, especially given the events of the first film. I find it refreshing that she allows herself to commit wholeheartedly to being hesitant whenever she has good reason to doubt him. But it is really sad, especially when she realizes she probably could have trusted him, right when it's too late. Next up for 31 Days of Horror, we are continuing Scream Week with Scream 3. So if you want to join me, my list of videos that I'm doing for this month of October is in my pinned videos. Come on in. The water is thrilling.